What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to do a little comparison between Dark Watanabe and Alpha, just to show you guys, the difference in the amount of damage that both these characters can do. But it won't be a fair comparison because my Watanabe is actually at level 68. He isn't fully leveled up, but we are running the fully maxed out and resonated Darwin and Bathlon memory sets for him. And as far as my Alpha, she's at level 76, so she has a huge advantage already. You can see she has 6,000 BP versus my Watanabe that actually has 5,400. So that's a huge difference in the amount of BP that they have. And she actually has a 6-star weapon with 1 resonation, and then a fully resonated pattern memory set with a Darwin memory set. This is the optimal memory set for her, but when it really comes to Pancake, which we're actually going to be doing our testing, the Frederick set would actually be better because it has a lot better burst damage to mow down your enemies. So maybe this comparison would be a little bit different if I was running the Frederick set on him. And another thing is, we're also going to be using Bianca here as our Da Vinci character, and this is a set that I'm going to be running on him. Now, one thing to keep in mind whenever you look at this set is we do have the Catherines here, and the Catherine does debuff the physical defense by 20%. This is really going to help Alpha big time because she's 100% physical damage dealing character, whereas Dark Watanabe is going to be doing dark damage. He's 50% physical, 50% dark, so he doesn't get near the advantage that she does by using Bianca for her QTE and with this Catherine set. So that is something to keep in mind. But we also are going to be, I tried to find a way to balance this somewhat, and so I decided to go ahead and use Escamoy for both of their team setups. So on one team, it's going to be Alpha, Bianca, and Escamoy. On the other team, it's going to be Dark Watanabe, Bianca, and Escamoy. And Escamoy is going to be really awesome because he will actually benefit Dark Watanabe whenever we're using him, bringing him in for his QTE, because he's going to be applying this debuff that does the elemental resistance down. That's really going to help Dark Watanabe. So this set actually is an advantage for Dark Watanabe when we're using a QTE skill versus the Catherine set. That's really more of a set that kind of helps out Alpha. I tried to balance this out the best I could. Really, I guess the best thing I could have done is had the optimal team for both setups, like for both teams, for both characters, and maybe that would have been a better way to go. Maybe next time that's what I'll do. But I do have a 3-ping here, or I do have the Hannah set, because this is the optimal set for Escamoy. Whenever you're doing your 3-ping, you're just going to do a lot more damage. It's really going to help, and you're going to be doing a lot more dark damage because of that. Now, the boss that we're going to be facing is in Pain Cage, and I thought this would be a nice little test. Now, Alpha is going to beat Watanabe in these here, okay, because Iron Maiden actually has a weakness to dark damage. So that is something to keep in mind, and whenever you do these comparisons, you should always keep in mind that some characters are just going to do better against certain bosses because they have an elemental advantage, whereas some other characters will have an advantage against other bosses because of their raw power, like Alpha, or because they do physical damage. I mean, it just really depends on the boss you're facing. But against Iron Maiden, who's weak against dark damage, even though my Dark Watanabe has less BP than my Alpha, I mean, we got 6,038 BP for Alpha here, and then for Dark Watanabe, we actually have 5,408, which is a huge difference in the amount of BP that they have. So we'll do Alpha's run first, and keep in mind, that there's always a lot of variables when you're doing these runs. I played Alpha probably about 10 different times, and the run that you're going to see with Dark Watanabe, I did once. That's also another big difference, the amount of times that you actually have to play this to get the optimal run. With Alpha, it can be kind of a pain sometimes because you're always trying to get the blue orbs, and with Dark Watanabe, in my situation, I'm always trying to get the blue orb. That way I can bring in my Da Vinci set here and then bring in both these characters for their QTEs at the same time to apply all those debuffs at once, and then have a red orb. So you want a blue and a red with Dark Watanabe, and you just want a blue and then whatever. Really, a red would be the best with Alpha because whenever she does a 3-ping red, she gets an extra physical damage increase for 4 seconds when she's at double S rank, which she is. So I'll go ahead and pull up these runs. And remember, I did this about 10 different times. I mean, I tried to get a decent run as far as using Alpha here. And we'll try to dodge. We'll get our blue orbs. Bring in our QTEs. Do all those debuffs. And there I'm getting hit a little bit. That's something else, man. You know, when it comes to Pain Cage, the less you get hit, the better. The more HP you have at the end of the fight, the more points you're actually going to have. So that's something else to keep in mind. And in both these runs, I am going to be switching to Moy and using him. You know, when you're playing with Alpha or when you're playing with a certain character and you run out of orbs, you don't want to keep attacking, at least in this situation, because you want to bring in Moy to apply some of that dark damage. So I tried to make these runs as similar as I could. You see that I have a lot of pings there. So now we can break out the sword wave, and I did use the red ping there, so we get that extra physical damage. And even though Alpha has that super armor during the sword wave, we did take some damage. I mean, you can still take damage during super armor. Okay, come on now, let's go. And get him, girl, get him. Or get him, boy, I guess now. We can do it, we can do it. And, you know, this is the one thing about fighting Iron Maiden that I can't stand is them stupid little spikes that come popping up on us. Go ahead and use our signature here, and then we're going to try to go into a blue orb here. There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And we went into our red ping again, so we applied the red ping a couple times, getting that extra physical damage. And we're just about there, just about there. Come on now. I'm going to be really happy, honestly, when I get Watanabe and Moy. These characters leveled up a little bit more because really the main character I've worked on in this account is Alpha. And there we go. So let's see how many points we got in that run. And so we were able to get 156,000, and we do have 86% health. So let's see what Dark Watanabe does. So we're going to try to play this exactly the same as I did with Alpha. I mean, it's not exactly the easiest thing, but we just want to try to ping our blue orb, go into the Matrix, apply our debuffs, and use our red orb to enter into Watanabe's core passive. Okay, we got 3 yellows, so we can enter that core passive again. Because any 3 ping plus a red ping will enter Watanabe's core passive. Therefore, we'll be applying a lot of dark damage. Just going to do a lot of damage that way. There we go. Not bad, not bad. I mean, you can definitely see a difference in the amount of damage that Dark Watanabe's doing. Even with 4,400 BP, I mean, he really does put it out against Iron Maiden, man. It's pretty freaking nuts. There we go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Ooh boy, ooh boy, ooh boy. And again, this run that you're watching right here, I did one time. This was just one time recording. I didn't do it any other times besides that. So that is something to keep in mind. So like, if you don't have Alpha, right, and everybody should have been able to get Dark Watanabe for free during this Fallen Star event, I mean, you're really loving life, especially against a boss like this. Because Watanabe, I mean, he's just easy to play. And he just does insane damage, right? Especially dark damage, which is perfect for this boss. There we go. Perfect. That's what I wanted. Wanted to be able to apply those debuffs before we entered that core passive. Come on now. Let's go. And again, you know, there's always lots of variables in these runs. I mean, you know, I guarantee I could have played this more than what I did and probably could have got a better score. I mean, if I did this the very first try, pretty sure I could have done even better, but let's see what we get. So we got 163,000 and we actually have less health. We have 76%. So even having a lot less health and BP than Alpha, because Dark Watanabe does all that dark damage and Iron Maiden is susceptible to it, we were able to just do a lot better with Watanabe. It was much easier. We just had to do it one time. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Again, I could have switched up my teams. I could have done some things a little bit different. I tried to keep it as fair as I could, but honestly, in this game, it's very hard to do that unless you're trying to use the best teams possible for the runs that you're going to do against Pain Cage. And again, if I was using the Frederick set on Alpha, maybe the outcome would have been a little bit different because the Frederick set does offer a lot more burst damage if played with correctly, especially when you're applying your debuffs. So that is something to keep in mind. So let me know how y'all feeling about the comparison, and I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link will be in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.